Sometimes life really hits hard, and out of nowhere, you're faced with something unexpected and completely unfair. Something that threatens your livelihood or your financial stability and even your way of life. This happened to me just yesterday. I was served with legal papers for a lawsuit in which I was wrongly named as the co-owner of a vehicle involved in an accident. Not only is this lawsuit frivolous to begin with, but the fact that I was incorrectly identified and that they even mentioned coming after my business assets felt like an attack on my person and on my livelihood. This triggered a flood of emotions from shock to frustration to fear, and even caused physical symptoms like heartburn and palpitations. Hi, I'm Valerie, a lifestyle nurse, and I believe that no matter what your age or current status is, that you have the power to take charge of your well-being and live a longer, healthier life. My goal is to share with you the knowledge and tools that will empower you to make that happen. In this video, I'm going to talk about the emotional and physical toll of feeling threatened, whether it's been by being wrongly accused, facing financial uncertainty, or dealing with a personal attack. These type of experiences can leave us feeling panicked and even paralyzed. But while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. In this video, I'll be sharing how stress impacts both the mind and the body, unhealthy coping mechanisms to avoid, and practical strategies for managing high-stress situations in a way that protects your well-being. When something like this happens, so like when your name, your livelihood, or even your character is put at risk, it triggers a deeply primal response. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a threat. And when we feel threatened, our brains go into overdrive, often cycling through emotions like shock, denial, anger, and frustration. At first, I really couldn't believe what I was reading. This has to be a mistake. But then came the fear. What if this mistake cost me time, money, or worse? And then frustration. How could this even happen to me? I try so hard to avoid this type of drama in my life. Many of us have been conditioned to bottle these emotions up, to stay strong and just push through. But emotions don't disappear just because we suppress them. They sit under the surface, building pressure, and often manifest in other ways, like anxiety, muscle tension, or in my case, physical symptoms like heartburn and palpitations. This stress response is natural, but what we do with those emotions is what matters. It's okay to feel, it's okay to express, and it's okay to process emotions in a healthy way rather than resorting to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Our body and our mind are not separate. What we experience emotionally affects us physically. High stress, especially when it's prolonged, leads to increased cortisol levels, which can impact digestion, sleep, and immune function. Over the past 24 hours, I've experienced symptoms like heartburn, a racing heart, insomnia, and a feeling of being physically on edge. This is because my nervous system has been in a heightened state, what is often called the fight or flight response. This response was designed to protect us in the face of real physical danger, but in modern life, it often gets triggered by threats to our sense of security, not just our physical safety. Chronic stress like this is more than just unpleasant. It can contribute to long-term health problems like high blood pressure, digestive issues, and even increased inflammation in the body. And if someone is living with a chronic condition, it can make that condition worse. When we ignore stress and don't deal with it properly, it doesn't just go away. It settles into our body and can negatively impact our health in ways that we don't always notice right away. When under intense stress, it's very easy to fall into unhealthy coping mechanisms. Many people turn to food for comfort, eating in ways that numb emotions rather than nourish the body. Others might try to escape through alcohol, drugs, or even excessive scrolling on social media, anything to distract from that feeling of helplessness. Another common but also dangerous reaction is complete avoidance. Things like bottling up emotions or pretending everything is fine and hoping the problem will resolve on its own. But avoidance doesn't make stress just disappear. It just buries it deeper, often leading to even more anxiety and frustration. When life throws something stressful and unexpected at you, it's easy to feel like you have no control. That feeling of helplessness can be one of the hardest parts, but while we may not be able to change the situation, we do have control over how we respond. One of the most important things I had to remind myself of was to let myself feel and what I was feeling. So many of us have been trained to push emotions aside, to tell ourselves to just deal with it or to just stand strong. But bottling things up doesn't make stress go away. It only buries it deeper, where it can turn into anxiety, tension, or even physical symptoms. Yes, I even let myself cry, which I think is especially difficult in this situation because we were trained as children to not cry when we were being bullied. So acknowledging what you are feeling, whether that be anger, frustration, or fear, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you're processing. Sometimes that means talking things out with someone that you trust. Other times it might mean writing things down just to get them out of your head. For me, journaling my thoughts helped me sort through the panic and frustration so I could start thinking more clearly. Having support also makes a big difference. When you're under stress, your brain can make everything feel bigger and more overwhelming than it really is. Reaching out to a friend or a family member or even seeking professional help can bring things back into perspective. Just knowing that you don't have to carry the weight of a problem all alone can make it feel a little more manageable. But one of the most powerful things that I did, even if it was one of the hardest, was to shift from feeling like a victim to taking action. I was served on a Saturday, which seems kind of cruel because that means I had to sit with this for 2 whole days before I could call an attorney or start getting any real answers. And that waiting period was just awful. But instead of letting myself stay in a spiral of worry, I started to write things down. So like everything I knew about the situation, what next steps I could take, and what I could do once Monday arrived. I even started looking into countersuing. Just having a plan made me feel like I had some control again, and that small shift made a huge difference in my stress level. When we go through stressful situations, it is very easy to let them just consume us. But taking even a small step forward, so like organizing information, asking for advice, or just deciding on your next move, can break that feeling of paralysis. It reminds you that you are not powerless. Stress is unavoidable, but how we handle it determines whether it takes over our lives or whether we move through it with strength and resilience. It's not about avoiding emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It's about recognizing the challenge, processing it, and taking steps to move forward in a way that protects both your mental and your physical health. There will always be situations in life that makes us feel threatened, whether it's a legal issue, a financial crisis, or a personal attack. The stress response is normal, but what we do with it determines how much power that it has over us. By allowing ourselves to feel emotions without suppressing them, by avoiding unhealthy coping mechanisms and taking action where we can navigate even the most stressful situations with resilience. So this past day has been very challenging for me, but it has also reminded me of how important it is to face stress head on and not let it consume me. And I hope that sharing this experience helps you feel more prepared to handle stress in your own life. I can tell you that sharing this experience has been helpful for me. Realizing that I could use my situation to help others really helped me rise up from the depression and disassociation that I had sunk into. Turning pain into purpose can be one of the most powerful ways to regain a sense of control. And I hope that whatever challenges you're facing, you're able to find a way to do the same. Thank you for being here and giving me this platform to express myself. So if you're dealing with a stressful situation that feels overwhelming, know that you are not alone. Stress is a part of life, but how we manage it makes all the difference. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more content on mental and physical well-being. And as always, please take good care of yourself.